Hello, grade 5. Here it is, our last vocab unit of the year. Here is the story at the beginning of Unit 11, Blockades Through the Centuries, a little bit of a social studies twist. In the past, countries at war have used ships, weapons, and troops to carry out blockades. These actions stop all supplies and people from coming into a city or country. History gives us many examples of how blockades have been used effectively. History also shows us that blockades can be defeated. The French and Indian War, 1754 to 1763. In the mid-1750s, the French and British began fighting over land in North America. Native Americans, extraordinary warriors who knew how to fight with both guns and simple handmade lances, did not want to lose lands to the British. Therefore, they joined the French soldiers. Then, in 1757, the British began using warships to create two blockades. One was off the coast of France. The other was off the coast of Canada. The blockades helped bring about a British victory. The Revolutionary War, 1775 to 1783. After the French and Indian War, the British taxed the American colonies heavily. Laws were made in England, and colonists had no say in them. The colonists chanted, "No taxation without representation." When their cries were ignored, the colonists rebelled. The Revolutionary War had begun. During this war, the British Navy blockaded the city of Boston. Americans could no longer receive supplies or ship them to be sold overseas. In response, General George Washington made a decision that reflected his skillful leadership. He had a cannon placed atop a hill overlooking Boston Harbor. The British saw the weapon. It was elevated and pointed toward them. They knew that they were at risk of being blown up, so they left the harbor and ended the blockade. The Blockade of Berlin, 1948 to 1949. In modern times, airplanes and submarines have been able to bypass blockades. As a result, blockades are often no longer practical and in some situations, even pointless. The Blockade of Berlin proves this. In May 1945, at the end of World War II, the city of Berlin was divided into two parts. Russia had control of the east side. The United States, Britain, and France controlled the west side. In an attempt to gain more power, Russia blockaded the roads and rails. The reaction of the United States, Britain, and France was heroic. Airplanes brought food and supplies into Berlin. This was called the Berlin Airlift. Soon after, Russia reopened the roads and rails. The Blockade of Haiti, 1993. In late 1991, Haiti's army overthrew its president, Jean-Bertrand Aristide. However, peacemakers wanted to force the army to allow the president to return to power. To help do so, the United Nations blockaded the country in 1993. The results were harsh. A missionary working and teaching in Haiti said the blockade hurt the Haitian people more than the army had. Over time, the lack of food, gas, and other supplies created despair in the country. In the end, the blockade worked, and the army allowed Aristide to return to power. Toxic Waste Blockade, 2006. In 2006, an international organization, Greenpeace, took action to stop pollution. It knew that ships were dumping toxic waste into the oceans. The waste was capable of making thousands of people sick, so Greenpeace used its ships to blockade cargo ships in some of the ports. The group forced the ships to find better sites for disposing of harmful waste. Here's a picture of that Greenpeace boat trying to blockade the toxic waste ship. It looks like that they put some graffiti on the side of the toxic waste ship as well. Thank you for listening and for all of your work. I hope you have a great week and a great summer.